everybody. Okay, so today I want to talk to you about forgiveness and why people can't apologize, why these people that have hurt us can't apologize, and why we really, really, really want them to, and how those two words, I'm sorry, can be the most healing and freeing words, but we're never going to hear them, and why we're never going to hear them, and why we want to so badly, and what we're going to do about it. Okay, so at the beginning of the discussion, I think we need to start off with, what does forgiveness mean to us? And there's a wide belief that we have to forgive, that we can't be free of our resentment, and it holds us back unless we forgive. That forgiveness can be all for us, and that they don't even have to know about it. We just do it for us so that we can be free. And I think that we are just defining forgiveness incorrectly there. I don't think that's forgiveness. I think that we want freedom, we want relief, but that it has nothing to do with us forgiving them. And I think that a lot of what we're up against with character disordered people, what we really need to do is find compassion, in that we know our logical mind tells us, our rational mind tells us that nobody's born evil. That something happened to these people, something happened to our parents, something happened to our ex-husband or our ex-boyfriend, whoever it was that hurt us, something happened to them that damaged them in some way and made them incapable of loving us and incapable of giving us the love that we needed. And so yes, while they did hurt us really badly, and while they may have perfectly intended to do it, we may be very, very justified in our anger, our upset, our resentments towards them. And they're not going to apologize. They're not going to acknowledge anything that they've done. Or even worse, they'll give us some really watered down sort of half apology for something that's so small and minuscule. There's all kinds of bad apologies that are non-apologies. The I'm sorry you feel that way kind of apologies. Any kind of apology that it then turns right around and says, I'm sorry, but trying to explain it away. Those are all just bad, all around bad apologies. So what does it mean to forgive? When I continue the conversation long enough and listen carefully enough, I frequently learn that many men and women are not actually talking about forgiveness, although they may use the word. Instead, they're talking about their desire to rid themselves of the anger, the bitterness, the resentment, and the pain. I want to forgive translates to, I want to get past this and find some peace of mind. Many people just want the burden of their anger and resentment to go away. Words or phrases like resolution, detachment, moving on, or letting go may better describe what they're actually seeking. What does forgiveness mean to you? Or how do you know when you have forgiven someone? What are the signals and signs that tell you that you have fully forgiven someone, or that you are in the process of doing so? We all use language differently while assuming that we're talking about the same thing. Many people use the word for experience of letting go or of hurt over time. It no longer has an emotional charge. When they talk about forgiving, they're saying that when they think of the past offense, it no longer bothers them. Or that sometimes the anger surfaces, but with decreasing frequency and intensity, and they have more distance from it. Other people hold the word forgiveness to a high spiritual standard. When I forgive, I surround the wrongdoer with love and light. I carry loving kindness in my heart for the person and wish them happiness and well-being. I work with people who possess a special capacity for forgiving the unforgivable, who teach and practice radical forgiveness, a form of love and compassion that is possible even for the most heinous acts and the most horrific of situations. Forgiveness from this latter perspective does not just involve letting go for the sake of the hurt party. It goes further, recognizing the pain of the wrongdoer and wishing that he or she would be happy as well. Not everyone is capable of radical forgiveness, nor does everyone strive for it. There is nothing lesser or closed-hearted about the person who seeks alternative strategies to releasing themselves from the life-draining anger and bitterness and pain. I use the word forgiveness sparingly, and only when it is earned through a process of open-hearted listening and self-examination. In the absence of a sincere apology, some way a person might show me that they are truly sorry and will not repeat the injury, I have no idea what it means to forgive a harmful or hurtful incident, though I know what it means to love that person anyway and wish them well. For me, the word forgive is much like the word respect. It can't be commanded or demanded or forced or gifted for no reason at all. When it comes to our close relationships, don't restore your humanity when you forgive an unapologetic offender. He restores his humanity when he works to earn your forgiveness. It's not that I identify with the label of an unforgiving person. To the contrary, I know full well the first-hand experience of coming to a place of empathy and understanding for the very person who has injured me and never apologized for a particular action. This has taught me to hold a large picture of people who do bad things, and I do not reduce them to their worst deeds or most dramatic insensitivities. I look at relationship problems, including my own, through the widest possible lens, and I teach people to understand patterns rather than to blame or diagnose individuals. That said, the word forgiveness is not a word I use to describe the compassionate or accepting place that I may or may not come to when I feel wronged by someone who can't get it, who is too defensive to take in what I'm saying, and who will never genuinely feel that they have something to apologize for. What I can do with that is I can feel the compassion of knowing that they are stuck where they are, and truly, sadly, doing the best that they can. Because as lame as that sounds, it really is true, I believe. Because if they could do better, they would do better. They're doing the best they can because they have to stay close, because they have a story they're telling themselves. So if you believe that forgiveness, like gratitude, is a universally healing emotion, you may be inclined to encourage other people to forgive someone who hurt them. Your intentions may be good, but you run the risk of victimizing the hurt party all over again. Okay, so say that someone tries to talk to you about some pain that they have, and you said to them, you know, we all make mistakes. I don't see how it can help to be digging up the past now and hold on to resentments. Can't you just forgive and move on? I don't think those are suggestions any of us should be making for anyone else. Those are really personal things. And such words, even if spoken with the best of intentions, could, leave a person feeling really alone and abandoned. And in a situation such as, if you have disordered people in your life, and especially if they're your parents and people like that, all the things that go around with, people saying universal things about, like, oh, all parents love their kids and all that stuff, all of these rules don't apply to you, and you feel always like an outsider, and you feel crazy for everything. And the other thing is to remember too is that most of us come to these realizations decades into abuse, after decades of abuse. And we have gone to great lengths to excuse our parents, especially. Kids will do that because they want to keep their world orderly. They will go to great lengths to explain away their parents' bad behavior by saying that they have somehow caused it, because they need to be loved. They need to think that their world is safe and secure, and that their parents have their best interest at heart. For a while, it's better to think you're wrong than it is to think you're unloved, because you have nowhere to go. You're a kid and you have nowhere to go. So most of us are coming to these realizations painfully with decades worth of evidence. And so it's really not helpful to someone to be saying to them, can't you just forgive? She did the best that she could. It is what it is. This happened so long ago. It's, similarly unhelpful. It just is one thing to tell someone that you hope they can find a way to, unburden themselves from carrying so much anger and pain. But it's another thing to entirely suggest that they should absolve the wrongdoer and transcend their anger through a heroic act of will or grace. That's just too much. So how are we going to find peace? So I'm going to tell this little story. Okay, so I saw Katrina in consultation 3 times when I was conducting a workshop. And this is a story that she told me. Katrina was married for 15 years to a man who left her after becoming hugely successful in the tech world. She told me that she had provided unflagging love and consistent support for his work, sacrificing career opportunities of her own to raise their daughter, while he put all his time and energy into his startup company. When he insisted 3 years before she sought my help that they moved from Chicago to Los Angeles for an even more prestigious and lucrative position, she reluctantly agreed. 8 months after the move, he filed for divorce and moved in with a marketing director of a large advertising firm, a young, beautiful, self-made millionaire in her own right. Katerina subsequently learned that the move to LA was motivated by a 5-year-long distance affair. That is, he had it all planned out. When he filed for divorce, he hired one of the city's most powerful and aggressive attorneys, and she ended up signing a settlement agreement that left her with far less money than she was due. Now, this sounds very, very, very familiar to me. I know this kind of guy, right? This is just like my ex. Their 10-year-old daughter, Anna, now adored the new girlfriend and preferred staying in their home in the Hollywood Hills that had a swimming pool, a big entertainment center, and the girlfriend had bought her a puppy that she loved. And Anna told Katerina that she didn't like being away from her dog. Katerina just described layer upon layer upon layer of pain. Katerina hated everything about LA because their daughter, she felt moving back to Chicago where she had friends and a sister wasn't an option. So she requested a consultation with me because she wanted some direction how to let go of her intense anger and hatred toward her ex. She now had a good job and several new friends, but every time she thought about her ex, his beautiful and successful partner, and tremendous prestige of the couple, their fancy home where their daughter preferred to hang out, the many levels of deception that included his plotting out move, her rage erupted full force. Katerina told me that she wanted to find some way to forgive him and move on, but could not for a particular reason. In her words, I feel violated and beaten to a pulp. The hardest thing is that I have no forum to show the world what he did to me. She paused and added, this may sound crazy, but I wish he had actually beaten me up, because I wish that I had physical bruises that would allow me to bring him to justice. If only it had happened that way, she explained, with physical evidence that could be substantiated. She would take it to court, and there in front of lawyers, judges, and the men and women of the jury, she could tell her story. Everyone would see what he had done, and his shark of a lawyer would lose the case. This fantasy, this courtroom, was now where she lived. Here she would be heard and believed. Her husband would be forced to face his cruelty, her pain, and the extent that he had violated, deceived, and tricked her. He would go to jail, his reputation ruined, and there would be justice and reparation. He would no longer be able to fool his friends, their daughter, himself. The courtroom scene was so vivid to her, so repeatedly rehearsed, she could see the smallest details of the majestic room, the faces of the sympathetic and shocked members of the jury, her ex-husband covering his head in shame as he faced the photographers in the LA Times, where the story would appear. It was the stuff movies are made of, the unexpected and satisfying ending where truth and justice prevail. She replayed the scene endlessly in her mind. But the courtroom scene, while offering a momentary comfort each time she replayed it, also provided the glue that fastened her to the false beliefs that did not serve her, that her ex needed to see what he had done to her, and that subsequently she needed to forgive him. These were the keys that she thought would unlock the door of the small, unhappy place that imprisoned her. Instead, they helped keep her trapped. I can't forgive him until I make him see the situation that he has put me in and what he has done to me. Well, there is some truth to this, because really forgiveness does require that we declare the person did something wrong, they admit it, they accept it, and they atone for it. Right? So it requires all of that, which is highly unlikely in this situation. She's not going to get that. It is not ever going to happen. And so she has this fantasy that I guess that even if he didn't admit it, I suppose, that a judge would find him guilty. Well, that's never going to happen either, because in family court it doesn't work like that, you know. My experience in family court is the guy who comes out with the story first wins. And it sounds like that's exactly what happened here too. And she wasn't prepared for this. She was never going to win. She was never going to win the court of perceptions. He already had that locked up, and it doesn't sound like he did anything illegal that she could get him for in kind of other kind of criminal court, where she would, you know, there's a better chance of justice in criminal court, but it doesn't sound like there's anything there to go on. So that's not, you know, not likely to get what she's after. So if you don't have any significant people to witness and validate what occurred, you're not going to get it. So if you want to know if I had any ideas how she could get her ex to see the truth of what he'd done, and maybe with the right words in a letter, or by making him sit down and listen to her feelings one more time, or by confronting the new partner, or even by publishing a short memoir or an op-ed piece in the paper, she might make him see what he had put her through, and then she might be able to finally forgive him. To her enormous credit, she had not gone the usual route of trying to enlist Anna into her camp at the expense of Anna's relationship with her dad, and this was a remarkable achievement. Katerina deserved a Medal of Honor for staying ambulatory, breathing, for putting her clothes on every day and going to work, and for taking good care of her daughter. Given the multiple losses and deceptions she experienced, of course, she felt profoundly done in. I told her that her longing for witnesses and for the unequivocal validation of her feelings was totally normal. And for us, all of us, current hurts and obfuscations of our reality gained additional power from the inevitable unrepaired and unacknowledged injuries of our childhood. That her ex is never going to see what he had done to her, and he's never going to make amends. There's no expert could ever make him see the truth or feel guilty or feel anything at all. She could run the courtroom scene through her mind as long as she needed to for the rest of her life if she chose to. The unequivocal and heartfelt validation she deserved would not come from him, nor did she need to forgive him actions to free herself from the pain of what he had done. That's the beauty of it. She didn't need to forgive him. She didn't need to do it. I suggested that she get some treatment for PTSD, complex PTSD, EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, a relatively efficient treatment that, when it works, can lighten the emotional impact of trauma and offer considerable relief. I heard from her by mail, she was doing much better. This EMDR helped her feel lighter and keep the painful feelings more at a distance. The therapist had also recommended medication to help soothe her overheated nervous system and give her some relief from the kind of obsessive thinking that didn't serve her well. Now, this is a use of medication that I think is completely appropriate, because she had gotten herself into a obsessive thought pattern. She was also in treatment. So together, that was a way of breaking through something. She was, so she was exercising, she was eating healthily, she was getting out in the sunshine, she was getting plenty of sleep, she was taking care of herself, and all these things plus time help. And it's something about time. If you're taking care of yourself, time helps you because it diffuses some of the edges of the pain. But time is not going to change them. You can't be counting on anything changing them. And my experience is that these stories unchallenged, that with time just get more cemented in. They will have no epiphanies. They're not going to be changed and have any big enlightened moments in the 10, 15 years that have passed. You will have gone through all kinds of processes and changed completely, and they'll be just completely unchanged. Because why do we change? Because we're in pain, and they're not in pain. They're not in pain. At least they're not aware of their pain. This is important to keep in mind. She cared about the forgiveness thing, so she went to a forgiveness workshop, flunked out of forgiveness workshop, but she got some useful skills there. First, she realized that the relationships are not some kind of competition where the one who gets out first or with the most goods is the winner. She also realized that at some level her husband could not be as happy as he appeared or even believed himself to be, because people who deceive and diminish others are not deeply happy and fully at peace with themselves. Finally, she realized that despite some ongoing envy and resentment for the good life that he had, she did not want to be a person who would do what he had done. Her dignity and integrity were intact, qualities far more important to her than any money could buy. Katerina said that these were not new insights for her, but often what we need to learn most are not new. Rather, we most need to learn what we already know and to know and live it at a deeper level. I don't mean to imply that we hold on to our anger simply because we unconsciously want to show the other person how totally they've screwed up our lives, or because it maintains our connection to them, or because it lets us keep alive the fantasy that one day this person will change the way we want them to. Nor are these feelings completely in our control. We don't just decide one day, gee, I think this would be a great time to let go of my anger and suffering. Countless self-help books, blogs, seminars promise relief from suffering when pain and suffering are as much a part of life as happiness and joy. The only way to avoid being mistreated in this world is to fold up in a dark corner and stay mute. If you go outside or let others in, you'll get hurt many times. Ditto, if you're grown up in a family rather than being raised by wolves, some people will behave badly and will not apologize, repair the harm, or care about your feelings. There are countless resources out there to aid us with the process of letting go when we have the will and the intention to move in this direction. Therapy, medications, meditation, yoga, religious and spiritual practices, exercises, writing, making art, breathing, relaxation exercises, and being useful to others are just a few of the available paths and concrete strategies to help us stop nursing past grievances and live more peacefully in the present. So how do you find peace when the hurt you've suffered will never be acknowledged or repaired by the one who inflicted it? Whatever works. Thanks for stopping by. Please come back, and I will talk with you very soon. Bye-bye. A place that's real.